All right, so now you understand the whole pyramid method thing, but that doesn't mean that you understand why we use the reasons that we do, starting with a date last active. And that's totally fine. I created the dispute flow to answer this question for you. And yes, this is super, super important. So if you're driving, maybe you'll want to watch this later, or if you're at work, just pay attention real quick. So starting over with the date last active, we're going to click on the question mark, and you can actually use this button right here at the top right to make this wider. But for the purposes of this, because I'm only recording a portion of my screen, I'm not going to do that. So if I click on this one right here with the date last active, first we're going to look at the dates. We have December 2018, September 2019, and April 2019. Obviously, those are not the same dates, right? So here's the thing. You'll first want to dispute the date last active MLS account, and this is because it stipulates when the account will naturally fall off the credit report. So just imagine this. The original year was 2010. That would mean that the account would naturally fall off in 2017, right? But because the account was illegally re-aged to 2015, now it's not going to be removed until 2022. So the date last active not only must be the same date, but it must be the right date. So let's take a step to the right. Now, the date last paid, two of the same dates technically, but I mean, then we also have April. So let's dispute that anyways. So here's the deal. And this is just for the purposes of understanding why we are using this. And it literally flows from one step to another. Now, just real quick, if you need help, if this doesn't make any sense to you, if you're looking for someone to take over your file, I might be able to help. You can use the link in the description to find out if I can do a credit sweep for you, very simply by scheduling a call with me. If I can help, I might. All right. So moving on, date last paid. So your next step would be to dispute the date last paid. The date last paid is important because your 7.5-year time period, or the statute of limitations for reporting, begins after this date. So imagine this: you stopped paying in 2014, but Equifax all of a sudden reports that you made a payment in 2020. This means that your account will not be coming off until 2021. And instead of coming off, will not come off until 2027 instead of 2021. All right. So that is the entire point behind this, that these dates are on there for a reason and they mean something. Okay. One will naturally stipulate when that account comes off, and the other will stipulate when the actual date last active is the beginning date, right? So if we go over to payment history, that's going to be the next one. And that's all the way to the right. So why is the payment history important, you ask? Well, that's because it directly influences the date last active and the date last paid, right? So imagine for a second that your payment history should report that your account was 180 days late, but charged off the next month. And instead, it shows consistently 180 days late without having been charged off. So 180 days late, 180 days late, 180 days late, so on and so forth. This would mean that the account would continue to remain active on your credit report, and that the date last active would move by 1 month each and every month. Obviously, that's not correct, right? So as you can see, if the payment history is not correct, then the date last paid is not correct, and then the date last active is not correct. And that obviously means that your entire reporting is not going to be correct. Now, as you can see, there's also a violation in here in the payment history. So let's click on that, the leftmost question mark. Activity. So the activity after the close date is one of the most frequent violations that I see, and it's actually something that occurs on the bureau's end and not the creditors. So they continue to report the unpaid charge off as late or charged off because no payment has been received. This account would only be reported accurately if it stated charged off with no further activity, not late, not charged off, just nothing. So by reporting on there, it's a violation for continuously reporting activity after the close date. And you can take the close date as being the charge off date. You don't have to specifically know it, but if it looks like this, then that's incorrect. Okay. And then lastly, we have the notice of dispute. So the notice of dispute is required, and you're gonna hear me all the time talking about this. The notice of dispute is required to report within 30 days of receiving the first dispute letter, right? So you write a letter, they receive it, your time starts, 30 days. You'll find it in the comment section of the account. And if this notice is not there by the 30th day after they received your letter, this account is reported in violation of section 623, or if it's a collector, it's 80, I believe it's 807. So this notice will reflect something to the effect of disputed by consumer. So if we look at this account, we see in the comment section on the leftmost, which is TransUnion, charged off as bad debt, dispute resolved, reported by grantor. The middle one, account was in dispute, now resolved, reported by subscriber. Unpaid balance reported as a loss by the credit grantor. Charged off account, accounts closed by credit grantor. As you can see, it doesn't say anything about a dispute. However, TransUnion and Experian do. So that would mean that Equifax is reporting this account in violation because they did not enter the required notice of dispute. That makes sense? So you can use the notice of dispute on round, let's just say 3. I mean, you can use it on round 2, but I really wouldn't. I mean, I would say that's all round 3. I would do blatant inaccuracies, date last active, date last paid, or notice of dispute, and then which of the 2 you did not use on round 4. Okay, so I hope this clarified a little bit more about the whole dispute flow and why these are important, why they are the most important besides blatant inaccuracies, and why you should be using them. All right, these are the things that are in the topmost section of the pyramid. And when I say pyramid, I'm talking about there's only 3 sections. The top is the stuff that you should be using that are going to get you the best results. The middle section of the pyramid is all the crap that's like term, status, blah, blah, blah. And then the bottom is the stuff that you shouldn't be using. All right, that's really not going to warrant any results. All right, guys, so I hope this video gave a little bit of clarity to the entire process and taught you something that you didn't know. I hope you have a wonderful day. I have another video coming for you tomorrow. And like I said, if you need my help, just use the link to schedule a call with me and I will see if I can help. All right, guys, have a great one. Talk to you later. Bye.